upwards. So
Dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, ciao, konnichiwa, bonjour, hola, good morning, good morning, good morning on this very chilly Friday, the 16th of December 2022. How are you? I hope you're well. It's bright and sunny here in Norbury, but very cold. It is very chilly indeed, and obviously made all the more chilly by yesterday's announcement on interest rates. We have another 0.5 point increase in rates, as was widely predicted. Where do we think it will go from here? Well, as we've said for some time, we think we're in for another rate rise next year, probably of another 0.5 point. And that's probably where it will peak at 4%. We're currently at 3.5 now following yesterday's announcement. Why was it made? Well, inflation is still running high. But one of the interesting things about the recession this time around is that the employment stats are very good. There is nearly full employment in the UK, very, very high, which is really counter to what you'd expect in a recession. It's one of the things that's helping inflation to edge ahead, I think, at the moment. So hopefully that will calm down, and we're looking at a peak of around 4%. And then from there, will we ever see those cheap 1% rates again? I'm not sure we will, really, frankly. I think the days of really cheap money are probably gone. But there is some good news. What's the good news? Well, it's Friday, first of all. We love a Friday. Why? Well, the expectation of a weekend, of course. Plus, it's the day when everybody decides what they're going to view, if they're going to view, and we make sure that if they're viewing in the Norbury and Southwest 16 area, that all of our stock is prioritised for them to go and see it, because that's what we do. Apart from that, we've been very busy on the letting side, lettings and management. As you can imagine, with this cold snap, lots and lots of boiler issues, breakdowns, that kind of things. Our boiler engineers have been on absolute nutty shifts trying to make sure that all of our tenants manage to stay warm. It's been a shocker, hasn't it? Apparently, we're in for a bit of a warmer snap next week. Can you say warm snap? It's only a cold snap, really, isn't it? Rather than a warm snap. On to news. Apart from that, home improvements that can reduce the selling profit. This is research by a company, Help Me Fix, which has found that home cinemas, loft conversions, and solar panels are amongst home improvements that could actually reduce the price of our home by as much as $12,500. Well, funny enough, there is an argument for this. What you've got to ask yourself when you're selling a house is, or a flat come to that, is, who is my audience? And what I mean by that is that the audience is not always the same. So a young professional first-time buyer couple, they might want to see something like a home office, where perhaps someone looking at a family home won't want that kitted out home office when they've got 2 children. It's a 3-bedroom house and it's taking up that 3rd bedroom. So the important thing to ask yourself when you're making home improvements, if you're doing it in order to make a profit in the near future, because that's not what homes are all about, really, is it? You know, sometimes you'll do things in there for you and your family. But if it is in order to specifically sell that property, be very careful. I'll give an example of one that can reduce the price of a house, is putting a shower room in a family home where there's no bath. Why? Well, people want to chuck the kids in the bath, frankly. And if you haven't got that facility, it can actually reduce the price of your home. Similarly, building is so expensive nowadays that sometimes those extensions, which seem so desirable and help you keep up with the Joneses, are really not necessary to sell the house. In actual fact, they place the house in a price bracket which is above the average for the area, meaning the audience is much smaller, which you never want to do. You always want to think, where is the mass audience? Because the more people that are interested in your home, the higher the price can be driven. The less people, of course, as you improve and make it a much nicer home, then if you're not careful, it can become a bit of a white elephant. And what I mean by that is that theoretically it's worth another 200,000, but the reality is, and you have to ask yourself this question and try and be pragmatic and honest with yourself about it, if you had another 200,000 above its current value, would you buy on your road? Or would you buy on a neighbouring road where perhaps the gardens are bigger, or it's a bit pusher, or maybe it's got tree line and grass verge streets? You know, it's a good question to ask yourself before you go ahead with these home improvements. But the final question you should be asking yourself is, who am I doing this for? Because if you're making those improvements for you and your family, and you're going to live there for 10 years plus, well, fill your boots, enjoy, because you'll enjoy that space. And the value in it isn't purely financial. It's for the enjoyment of you and your family. So that's one of the first questions I ask when people say to me, how much does this add? And I always say, you know, it depends. What are you looking for? You're looking for quality of life, then buy it, you know, because if you feel that it will add to your quality of life and you can be proud of that lovely kitchen diner, which is all shiny and new, then perhaps it's worth a while just for you to enjoy, certainly over a longer period of time, because it all comes out in the wash. But if it's short term, be very careful of those massive extensions and home improvements. Certainly get an estate agent round to value if you're doing that in order to sell. So apart from that, hope you have a lovely weekend. Thanks for watching us once more. We're just in the process of producing this week's podcast. Sorry, it's been a bit delayed. Many of you will know I've been away, but I'm back. And if you're looking for some advice on your home, for selling, for renting, or anything else really, always give us a call, 0208 679 8601. Drop me an email, ken@jamesalexander.com. Look after yourselves and your family and friends, and we'll speak to you on Monday. Until then, ciao.